Welcome to Harmonium LA, the podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Heedy Gandolfi, emotional wellness expert, founder of Harmonium LA, and published author. The world needs healing now more than ever. My goal is to bring you inspiring conversations, tips, and techniques that will help you build a sustainable healing toolkit. The Harmonium LA podcast is the only resource you will need to slow down, stop searching, and start healing. Welcome back to another episode of Stop Searching and Start Healing. So my guest today is not only a phenomenal human being with one of the most incredible kind hearts that I've ever come across, but also he is a gold medal winning athlete and kickboxing champion of the world. So I'm excited to bring him in today to talk to us not only about his mindset, but also how that has now translated over all of his years of experience into healing and teaching from a healing perspective. So let me give you a little bit of an overview before we bring him into the show. Majid Raees has over 35 years of martial art experience and fitness training, starting with Taekwondo at the age of 13 in Islamabad, Pakistan. After 8 years of training in Taekwondo, Majid traveled to the United States at the age of 21 in search of the legendary kickboxing champion, Benny the Jet. Despite being a new native to the Western Front, Majid was able to locate Sensei Raees through hard work, perseverance, and discipline in order to accomplish his dream of training under Sensei. For over 2 decades, Majid trained under Sensei Raees and has now transformed into coaching people from all walks of life, from the youngest individual to the oldest. Majid has developed outstanding experience with instruction and has helped his students quickly and efficiently learn all of the desired techniques that Majid has refined over his lifetime, especially when Majid was actively competing. Majid travels the world pressure testing his martial arts experience by competing through the circuits of professional kickboxing, boxing, grappling, and mixed martial arts, achieving numerous accolades and gold medals. Majid continues to train as a student to this day in order to achieve his best results for all of his pupils desiring to learn the martial way. Majid Raees brings a positive element of martial arts leadership through a daily lifestyle of continuous hard work, dedication, and constant development for the student he instructs. Throughout his journey, he has managed to develop a deep understanding of human psychological through the rigors of physical, mental, and spiritual hurdles that we all face during those intense moments in life. This accumulative experience is constantly translated into his students without words, brought forth into the techniques he has crafted in life, especially healing. Majid firmly believes that the finest steel only forms its perfect shape when it has been completely melted by fire. Once melted, Majid believes that the steel is now ready to take on its true form. Some of his accolades and accomplishments include, currently, the highest ranking student under Benny the Jet received the title of being his protege, US International Gracie Open Grappling Tournament champion, Japan International Championship Kickboxing knockout in 1 minute and 27 seconds, the National Blue and Gold California Light Middleweight Champion, boxing champion, USA ABF California Golden Gloves Light Middleweight Boxing Champion, USA ABF Amateur Fighter of the Year, California State Junior Middleweight Kickboxing Champion, Gold Medalist All Asia Taekwondo Championship, Bronze Medalist All Asia Taekwondo Championships, and Australian National Triathlon Champion. So, quite an impressive resume to say the least. So let's not waste any more time. Let's bring Majid in so he can talk to you himself about his career, his mindset, and his healing. All right, so Majid, welcome to the show. You're going to tell me off because I didn't pronounce that right. I know, I'm still trying to get it right. But you're joining us, Majid, I know, I'm sorry. But you're joining us live from your car, which I love because you've just finished working with some clients, which is amazing. So I'm so grateful that you could take time and join us today because I think your story and just your journey is so inspiring and so incredible that I really want to share this with our audience because I have no doubt that somebody is going to be able to take something really useful and healing away from our conversation today. So thank you for taking time.
Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for having me. I'm excited actually. And And I like the part that I'm stuck in the car, but I'm still able to get fun. That's more important. Yes, thank you again, Jessica. It was a great. First of all, after how I met you, that was incredible by itself. And
Right?
meeting, walking at the beach, I was jumping in the ocean. I came out and I started talking to you, and I said, "This woman has great energy. I got to definitely got to talk to her." And that's how we are today. You're talking about energies, and here we are
Mhm.
about healing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very
It,
excited.
it was, and it was just one of those moments that we just, yeah, connected, and that was it. And so, and then that's how the story goes. It was, yeah, definitely meant to be one of those circumstances. And it was just great to meet you and great to hear your story. So why don't you just share that a little bit with us? Because you've had a great story and a great journey, like I say, to get where you are. So tell us a little bit about that, how that kind of looked for
Well,
you.
I was 13 years old and I was in Pakistan at the time. I was born in Kuwait, but I moved to Pakistan for my boarding schools. And I used to watch with my uncle Jackie Chan movies. I was
Mm,
obsessed about Jackie Chan. So one day there was a fight with Jackie Chan and Benny the Jet. They were fighting each other very good. I said, "Oh my God, who's this guy? This guy's incredible." And my uncle said he's a real world champion. And I said, "I want to train with this guy one day." And I was 13 years old. And my uncle said, "Yeah, you're right." And they started laughing at me. And I started training. I started competing. And I won the All Pakistan World, the fastest knockout back in my country. And then I flew to States to look for him and searching from all different gyms. I went each individual dojo looking for him. They said, "We know who he is, but we don't know where he is." And one dojo had his phone number. And I ran back to the hotel and called him up. And I said, "This is this Benny the Jet?" Benny the Jet. He says, "No, well, I'm his wife, but yes." I said, "I want to come see him. I'm in New York right now. I was looking for him." He says, "Well, here we are, and here's the address." She thought it was just a fake phone call. 2 days later, I'm with my suitcase in front of the dojo, standing in front of this Jet gym, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this is my school." So I go inside, and his wife says, "Honey, you won't believe this. He's here. He's standing in front of me. You have no place to stay. He wants to come stay and train with you." So that's where the story goes on. I became his student, became his protege, and fought around the world with him under his name. And I was very lucky, very fortunate, the wisdom and knowledge that he had taught me to do things, and plus also my own hunger of desire to find him. It was
mm,
itself, it's a great, like, dreams do come true if you put the effort. Yeah, there are
oh,
some, you have to put some effort to it. And there's a lot of healing during this process because we do have to struggle to a lot of ups and downs and hurdles and struggles and all these things that come immensely fall on you very quickly to test your faith and test your belief and to test your spirit, what you're made of. And remember, in my world, you get tested right there and then when you get punched by the world champions, world ranking in the world,
right.
take your jaw off. And remember the first time the guy popped my jaw and dislocated my jaw, and I had a broken nose and I cracked ribs. And because it's a tough fight, it's a championship, like you're competing with top professionals in the world. And where I came from, I was a taekwondo champion. I wasn't a
Mm,
kickboxing champion, but I did have boxing skills. But it's very different. Americans are very advanced in boxing. Anyway, the tools were very dense and very decadent here as compared to the rest of the world.
mm,
And the skills are very refined, especially talking with Benny the Jet, the legendary teacher. And yeah, I was very quickly humbled being in the ring with the top fighters from America. And that was a long journey from their honors to where I am today. But during this time, it wasn't the championship that I won. It wasn't the skills of knocking out people, being the greatest fighter, or being the good fighter in the gym, or being a fastest kicker. It was just incredible to see that how you manage to connect with each other's being without even saying one word. In the world of fighting, we don't talk, we feel and recognize these energies. And just recognize these energies during my training with Sensei all these years, um, recognizing that you can see the pain in other person even if he puts a poker face. And now I'm not talking about the physical pain that I had
mm.
just as I just gave to him as my gift to him, but as the gift that he has from his past, he carries on with it. And you can see
Right.
people bringing on their luggages in the ring, and with so much heaviness in them, and it has nothing to do with me, it has to do with their own struggle. So sometimes
Mm,
this becomes their soundboard to release. But in
right.
this case, for me, it was a platform of studying so many incredible things about human nature, human behavior, man, woman. And I went with everyone. I wasn't limited. So in the gym, we had people would come from all around the world because Benny was one of his own kind. He was the undefeated world champion around the world. And all the greatest fighters would come down and to train in his gym. At that time, he had already stopped fighting. He was just retiring, just having fun. And I was the soundboard. So people would come to me and I would
Right.
feel energy from all different places. And he would sit down. He says, "What did you feel?" I said, "I felt this. I felt this." It was
Right.
incredible. It was just incredible to know that humans have so much to offer. And without even saying a word, I could
Mm-hmm.
sense so much uh, detail about refined things. And that's when my world changed in a very different way.
So this is really fascinating to me because you are clearly so in tune with your own intuition and your own inner guide, even from such a young age. Because for you to be 13 years old and to see Benny the Jet, right, and to see him as this kickboxing champion, and say, "I want to be with him. I'm going to work with him," and to then begin this, like just that inner knowing, even at such a young age, to then where you are now, to go and literally to turn up on his doorstep with your suitcase and say, "I'm here." And that's it. I need to be you. I want to train and learn from you. It's so phenomenal and just a real testament, I think, to your inner guide. So then when you then translate that into what you were just saying about when you're in the ring and you're fighting and these people come in with their own issue, and you then knowing and feeling and sensing how you need to respond, because I'm guessing, I wouldn't want to be in the ring with you for sure, but I'm guessing that you have to be so fast, like it's not even a nanosecond of knowing where to be, otherwise you're going to get your head knocked off almost. And so to have that skill set, but that's almost like, it sounds like it was just within you. Some people can probably take years and years to try and learn that and still not have the capacity to have it at the level to which you have. Do you think that's what guided you so
You know,
much?
this is a very good question. You brought up a very interesting point, because if you see in the world of fighting or kicking or punching, the punch is so fast. By the time you react to something, it's too late to react. There's an example. I was working with this guy. He was about 5 feet away from him. I punched him and I came back. He said to me after the fight, after the conversation, we sit down, we talk about sparring. And he said that I didn't have the chance to blink my eye. By the time you punched me went back, I didn't have the chance to blink. And my teacher said to him, "Why don't you tell him the answer?" And I told him, "The reason you managed to blink, because I thought I caught you thinking in your head. And you have to know." So we have to connect with each other and recognizing where people are. And when you punch me, you're not going to tell me anything. I have to study and listen to you without even saying a word. So listening, it's not just a physical thing. It's an energy thing, a vibration that human generate. And you can feel the healing or the energy or bad energy, good energy. All these things are linked with a vibration that we generate. Like, I have to share this story with you, because you talk about energy, and this is a great story to tell about. I was at the gym, and this kid, every time he would come, and whenever no one would be there, he would train with my coach, one of my boxing coach. Every time he would pass me by, I feel of my hair would stand up back of my hair. And he wasn't big, he wasn't small, he was a normal guy, doesn't look any dangerous. But every time he would ride me back, I had a vibration in my skin. And I kept on asking, "Coach, who's this guy?" My coach said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "No, I want to know who this guy is, because every time he passes me or something happens, I feel this intensity in my body." And I saw him training, and when I saw him training, I said, I'll take him. I have no problem. So I said, why am I behaving like this? Why am I already taking him as a challenge? He just walks in the gym, and my hair stands up every time he walks in. Later on, I found out this is how when you're so all the time being attention to yourself. Later on, I found out that he was going to prison. He was getting prepared to go in prison for life imprisonment, which he raped and murdered, raped, assumed of, they brought him guilty of raping and hurting something really bad to other people. I don't know if he did something like that, but he was after gone forever. So that vibration that came in my body wasn't giving me a bad sense. We all have these intuitions within ourselves.
Yep.
And we ignore them. And so one of the hunters says to me, "How's that possible?" So I said, "Do you ever know? Do you ever notice when you go for hunting, you have a deer in a telescope half mile away, And you see the deer can't smell, you can't do anything. He gets up, looks left and right, and runs away. He said, it happens to me. I said, because we all have the sixth sense given ourselves. And like a mom knows about his kids, hey, honey, what's going on today? And mom can know if the kids are wrong or right. We all have this intuition, like parents have towards their kids. When we all connected, all my students, I would pick up a call, I feel something, I'll call them right there and then they'll tell me, how did you know to call me? And I said, I listen and I feel. When you connect with people, you have these intuition things inside of you. That's why when somebody's punching you, kicking at you, something coming with bad intention, first of all, you have to recognize, is this coming from intention that he has his own issue, or is it coming from something that he wants to do against you? So when you recognize these feelings, they elevate you in a different level. I don't take anything personal from anybody. That's the first thing I learned in the world of fighting. Nothing is taken personally.
I love that. And, you know, that just reminds me what you were saying about when we first met, actually, because when we did first meet, chat. And I said, you know, what do? You said, oh, I work with energy. That was what you didn't introduce yourself as a fighter or a kickboxer or a world champion or a medal winner, whatever those things are. You simply said, I work with energy. I thought, wow, that's amazing. So do I. And so that was, you know, the connection into that. But, you know, it is almost like a form of art as well, right? Because when it's an art form that you have to create and work on, but to be able to sense and to be so creative and intuitive and, you know, almost like knowing in advance of everything else, it's a fine art that you've had to tune along the way. But you know, to have had that instinctively within you and to see it, I mean, is that how you would say the majorities of fighters work? Or do you think that's something sort of unique to you and the training that you got from Benny?
I think it's accumulation of a lot of self-reflection. I can't say that it just fell upon my foot like this. I had to struggle a lot. It was a lot of struggle, a lot of punishment that I had to go through to test my own self. And I have to say, it's never over. Every day you wake up, there's a test. Every single moment, every single second in your life, it's healing and constructing and healing and breaking. You constantly have to grow. You constantly have to adapt. You constantly have to, you get tested. Everything you think you got it, here comes a test. You know, it's my favorite saying, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So so every time you think you got it, you're being tested. And I think the reason I got this, and I'm still working on it, it's not a thing that you always get it. It's constant. Like, I've been through a lot of struggles to understand my pains and my own agonies and my own challenges. If I feel this way, I know that every other soul feels the same way. And how they dealt with it, they maybe didn't have the right teacher, didn't have the right instructor, didn't have the physical. Some people are physically express their anger, but they can't relate with words. So I was all about hands and feet expression. I was not very articulate with my words. I'm still working on them, actually. And I'm not very clear with how I describe my things, but I noticed the more I would write, the more I would read, I would able to express and comprehend my feelings towards sensations, so I can relate with other people and how I can connect with them. So the moment I recognize my own pain, my own agony, I realize every soul goes through the same thing. So when I would see you, I can recognize some part of you in me. That's why I said the same thing. When I see people, what they're going through, what stages they're going through, maybe I went there or maybe I haven't gone there. So every body that comes, every human that you encounter, they're actually showing you some part of you and some part of you showing them. And they're a lesson for us. And when somebody comes in the ring with me, I'm actually watching myself. Then how would I behave and how did I behave? But the problem is that the question is so amazing that I said, the problem is you can understand other people when your own noises are shut down. You cannot master and you cannot conquer anybody else if you have not conquered yourself. And I don't mean to conquer other people in that way. I mean, you can't able to listen to them if you have not managed to manifest to understand who you are. And that's when you can understand other people and not judge them for who they are, because we only judge because we don't know how to cope with our own issues. But when you don't judge other people, that means now you're understanding that you are understanding who you are. You know, any given moment, you feel great 100%. 5 minutes later, the game will change second. Oh my God, then what? So in the world of fighting, you get tested very quickly. You're winning the fight, you're winning fight, and the next round he knocks you out, punches you out. Shit, I'm losing the match now. So now you got to put your senses together. You're out of breath. You have no gas, no stamina. You got last round to that. What are you gonna do? That means you have to bring your inner core and you have the inner energy. That energy is this. That energy finesses with a bigger source of knowing that I am not in control. I'm only a vessel that listens and vibrates according to what has given me. And the
Yeah.
moment you lose the connection with a higher energy, you are definitely bound to go down the drain. And that's why warriors hang out with warriors themselves. They want to hang out with those kind of breed because they lift themselves up, like you, energy. I hang out with energy people, okay, understand our languages. You and I,
Mm.
we understand. So people who are in the same frequency would recognize our vibration, our conversations, and understand how they relate with it. So something's not feeling right. That feeling is not from your thought process. If it's coming from your thought, you lost it. It has to
Yeah.
come from the heart. And the heart is the
Mm.
only purest thing that I can say, that it is very pure and very honest. And when you don't involve your thinking, it's incredible. That's what I think. For me, the heart is a pure connection to the universe, and that's what's give us vibration. So when we go in the ring, we hit gloves each other, we hug, we shake hands. What is it? It's a connection. The moment
Yeah.
you connect with each other, the energy ignite. Like even animals, they smell or they
Hmm.
sniff or they touch or they move, and then they recognize the energy. Okay, then they're friends. But before
Right.
that energy, we do not know what kind of state you are in. And humans, and our natural mechanism is to protect ourselves. So we hold our distance, we shake hands from a distance,
Hmm.
or we wave hands to
Yeah.
acknowledge the energy. So all of this came naturally to us because we are like another creature on this earth. We are based on energies.
And it's true. And I think there's a quote somewhere, I've read it somewhere, some meme, and it says, speak to me in energy, it'll be easier for me to understand. And I think that's so true because it is. I mean, that electromagnetic field and that connection, before you even open your mouth, your energy is speaking to whoever is within your vicinity. And even whether it's on the Zoom, right? It's the same thing. You're just projecting that. It's that field of energy and vibration. But this is so interesting because you've gone from being in the ring and using that skill set and fighting and winning all these world champions and these medals to now almost not taking a back seat, but changing it now and becoming the teacher. So you've gone from being the student and now it's almost like you are the teacher because you now are sensei too, right? And so now
Yeah.
you are in that world of teaching versus then learning and being the student.
Yes, being a teacher is like, it's hard because I'm not in control of what's going to happen. I can only guide them and show them the pathway they're going to come. And sometimes it's very easy to see what's coming ahead of them because they can't see the big ditch on the road that they're running on straight across. So I
Mm.
was very fortunate. I get to work with very well-known people, musicians, artists, producers, directors,
Mm.
actors. Very fortunate with that. And I'm very fortunate they have trusted me with my sharing of my knowledge and wisdom with them, that had able to get them to a different level. And the reason is, you can't teach the journey if you have not walked the journey.
So
And
true.
everybody has their own journey. I am just my explaining my journey. Their hurdles could be different than mine, but at the end of the day, they're same approach the same way. How you cope with your issues and your problems, that tells you what kind of warrior you are, or female warrior. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
Whatever it is, how we deal with this interaction shows our strength. It's not how hard you hit, it's how you react to the hit that makes you stronger.
Love
It's not
that.
how hard can I punch somebody, is when somebody hits you, how do you take it? Do you come back, ba 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 ba,
Exactly.
or you
Oh my
take
God, I
it
love that.
and study it and watch what it takes? And it's
Mm.
easy to respond back like animals react. We are
Yeah.
humans. We don't react. We proact. We train ourselves, have the
Mm.
emotional intelligence, how to cope with our feelings and suppress them and understand reaction is going to be bad at this time.
Yeah.
Recognizing these things brings us on the right platform. And the issue of energies is, you like you said, we don't have to say the words. Sometimes the words we say don't have enough meaning to recognize the word, the feelings.
Mm.
Like for example, when you see a baby and a mom, and the mom looks at the baby and the baby looks at mom, there is no word, and the baby doesn't even know the language, and the baby
Mm.
knows that this is my mom and this is
Yeah.
my mom, and the mom knows that what the baby wants without even saying anything. So what is that thing? That thing is a connection. That thing goes as we get older with somebody you love, with your
Mm.
brothers and sisters, with your love, the soulmate or the person you care about. It doesn't have to be only soulmate. It could be anybody you look up to with respect. Me and my sensei, when we talk, I mean, the moment if I haven't spoken to 2 days, I'll pick a call. He says, I was just thinking about you. And I said, this is the topic we're talking about. I said, exactly what we're talking about, the same topic. And we
Mm.
don't even have to like bring up the subject, we already know what we're heading on to. It's
So in
incredible.
tune.
You're so in tune with each other. And I think we all have these, like I mentioned, the moment our noises in our head shut down, we can hear the noises outside way clearly. And I would always say, if you do want to listen to the noises, or if you don't do listen to the noises not in your head, close your eyes and get away from your head, connect with your heart, and your heart vibration will tell you so much.
Oh, I love that. Absolutely. And, closing those two outside eyes and opening the 10,000 inside eyes and
Sure.
seeing what's really going on inside and feeling that is
Very
beautiful. So, I mean, a lot of the work you do with these clients is mindset based as well. It's not just fitness and training, it's mental training and mental agility and mindset training as well as part of your system, I guess, that you're using these days.
Yes, it's a method of like, I don't tell them too much because then you think like you're in control. You should want to make sure that I do not do that again. You just want to, I want to push them in that direction. Like you say something, you push them in the direction. And some people don't like to be told, but some are very interested, like to be known, like, hey, what am I? And I would, during the training, I would say, you're taking things personally, or I would say, you know, you're lost, you have to get out of your tunnel vision. And most artists get lost in tunnel vision. Somebody gets in different, they're different things. We can't say anything because everybody's different. Every day is different. So my job is to get them tuned, transport them from the making the product to the delivery of the product. And there's a journey. And during the journey, it's like almost like a warrior mentality state. You have to be disciplined. You have to be hold accountable for your behaviors. You have to hold accountable for what actions you're doing, because let's say you're doing something else, a normal lifestyle, behaving radically stupid or inappropriate, it affects your performance in ever you see. You can't say you live like a monk and you act nightclub in the daytime. So that doesn't work. If you say you're a sensei, you have to work the way you are, discipline the way you are, wake up in the morning, do your routines, do yourself, not for anybody else, for yourself. And same thing with anybody that I work with. I hold them accountable for their behaviors, their attitudes. If one thing in life goes wrong, it affects the other way. You can't say, I'm only good in this thing, only bad in one thing, but it affects everything. We are all balanced human beings. That's why if you see one guy is amazing martial artist or music, he has to be good, balanced in everything. He has to completely balance it, cannot push other things around. Or he's not good at this, he likes to drink, or he's not good with relationship, he's bad with talking to men and women. So that's a big thing. Everything has to be balanced. You cannot move on in any stage in life if you're not balanced with your family, your life, your personal life, your relationships, you're addictive for eating food, your addiction of anything that we do not know, from YouTube to TV to, there's so many things that come about. But I am responsible for holding accountable for what they do and to the best performance and bring the best light out of them. Because sometimes when the fighter is fighting in the ring, he cannot see himself what he's doing wrong, but only the outside person is cornering him and say, listen, you're dropping your hands down and you're getting too cocky, you're going to get knocked out.
Love that. So for people that are listening, for the audience, and they're thinking, yeah, you know what, you're right, I have to get more balance, but they're feeling out of control, or they're feeling lost, or they're feeling just like so challenged. I mean, from your warrior mindset and your warrior mentality, I mean, what would you say to people that are feeling like they just don't have everything under control? Because it's difficult sometimes when you're feeling challenged to try and bring yourself in and find that balance. But do you have a specific technique or tip as a warrior with that mindset that you can give to people now that would just help maybe bring in that focus?
It's a really, really good question. Really, I love that you have amazing question. I can't believe that's why I have an amazing show. I'm going to listen to your podcast more now.
Oh, thanks.
Get on there again. The thing is, we are very good to teach other people. Everybody can hold mistakes for other people. We can point fingers. Humans are so good. They can point fingers at everybody else's mistake, but they can't do that. So I created a process when I was only young, when I was 13, 14 years old, when I started training. And I would give, like I'm teaching somebody, I could give a lesson. Okay, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do 500 kicks, 200 push-ups, 300 sit-ups, and I would write down on a paper. So, and I would take, if I would make a program for somebody else, how would I do it? So I make a paper and a list, hold accountable for me to do those things. So first, as a teacher, I would write it down. And then I look back and look at myself, now I have to do this. So I hold myself every day. There will be pressure. How many tick marks that I did? And you have to be truly honest with yourself. And what are you going to do? If you're not honest with yourself, you're just faking your time and delaying the process of which pathway you're going. And in so many cases, people don't hold themselves accountable, but it takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of courage to do it. And I encourage everybody to do that. But let's say if you can't do that, take one of your friends, say, listen, hold me accountable that today I have to read at least 20 pages of this book. Hold accountable. Hey, at the end of the day, can I call you back to let you know that I walked 5 miles or 4 miles?
Right.
And can you hold accountable? And instead of putting on social media, I did 5 miles. Well, that's not going to help you, because one day you do, one day you don't do. We don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So instead of doing that, use your friends and use people who love you to hold them accountable, and you take responsibility for them. So like this, that's how warriors build each other up. It's not individual
Right.
thing. Individual thing is so tough. You can do it, but it's tough. And then you have to find some guidance or some teacher, some sensei who can hold you accountable for it. And most of the time that I deal with, I hold everybody accountable, because if I'm not honest and true with them, that means I'm dishonest to myself. If I was drowning, and how would I ask, if my son was drowning, is how would I teach him? I want to show him how to swim. Oh, if he swims, okay. No, you have to show him how to swim. If that means if I was drowning, have to be honest with me how to help me. So you have to give true facts and true examples and help people out. And something that ever happened, you're there for them, that you can actually help them. And be honest with yourself and be honest with the other people. The hardest thing I found, people want to please each other and not show them the real thing. Hey, listen, I'm going to tell you something honestly. You're my friend, but you're not doing what it is. And here on, you can do whatever. If you want to be if you don't want to be my friend, I do understand that. But I do want to tell you that this is what the thing I can see. I can help you, and you can help me in what I need to work on.
I love that. And I think that's the truth right there, is being honest with yourself, right? Holding yourself accountable, being disciplined enough and wanting to make that change, but then actually verbalizing it. So by speaking it out and saying to somebody, okay, this is what I'm going to do, but I need help, and I want you to support me and you to help me, but having the courage to hold yourself accountable and to ask for that help, because a lot of us don't want to be saying, oh yes, that's what I want to do, and I know I need to change, and so I'm going to do this. But then if you don't tell anyone, you can change your mind if you want to. You don't have to stick to it. So I think that's to write a list, to write it down, to verbalize it, and to ask for that help and support. And also that not only gives you accountability, but I think especially now more than ever, it gives you connection, right? So you're connecting with somebody, because so many of us have felt so alone and so abandoned and struggling with lack of connection over the last 12 months. I think that's a beautiful way to bring connection back in to your life, is to get yourself an accountability partner or buddy or somebody that can support and help you with that. I think that's beautiful. But go ahead.
I think that's the reason people feel so isolated, because they have no connection with each other. And even they have connection, it's just verbal. But when you help each other, you helping, supporting each other, it makes we feel like important. When we're important for somebody, we feel important for ourselves. We humans are made not for selfish reasons. We humans are made to help each other. Look at the generation before us. They made the ability for the cars, for the computers. Here we are, because of their hard work, we are where we are today. So we have to make something for our generation. So when we help each other, we're actually helping ourselves. By helping others, we are helping them. And by building up this network connection, we feel valuable for our purpose on this earth and our value of humanity. I don't want to live my life living for myself, making money just to live enough for myself and then die away. I want to go back enough that if I saved one soul from my podcast or my YouTube channel, if I hit one soul, I have saved humanity. I've done my purpose in this world. My job is long after I'm gone, so my son can listen to the podcast, listen to the messages, listen to videos of kickboxing methods that I made. I want my generation to come forward like, wow, he showed us a way that can help us. He showed us a way that can come out of trouble. And that's my focus on the young youth and program, is to help these young generations to connect and go look forward. Because in the old times, we had a relationship with the father, grandfather, and the grandson. And now the bridges have completely collapsed. We don't even have son and father, because son is on his video games. So dad is working 24/7, starting earning, and the dad and son has no connection. So whose mistake is it? Well, nobody's mistake, because the time has made, we are lost in the world of matrix. We completely lost our, instead of connecting it deeper. And my son and I, we have something in common. Like, Hey, son, how are you, Papa? I really miss you. I say, I miss you too. Give me energy. He'll say to me, give me energy. I'll go and hug him. And he'll hold me, and he'll hold me for several minutes. Like, I'm so
Mm,
lucky. And sometimes he beats me in holding long enough. Like, give me energy. Oh my God.
yeah,
And that melts my heart,
beautiful.
because when he was only 4 or 5 years old, I would teach him how to give me energy. He's also so
Mm,
tired today. Can you give me energy? And he would give me energy, like, I'll give you energy, Papa. And he would hug me. And this
lovely.
still today, we still talk about energy, how you feel, how you don't feel. And I think it's important, even if we spend a few minutes, instead of correcting what they're doing wrong or right, we should connect with energy. We could connect how you feel. Like, don't,
Mm,
instead of teaching, they do this, you're not teaching them, because now you're ordering them. But if you talk about feelings, and that's why I talk about the emotional intelligence lacking so much. We
yeah.
lack so much. And the kids are connecting more with your video games as they connected with us, because they connect with the emotional part of video games as connected with us. And we have the opportunity to come down at their level and have this conversation and to
Mm,
bring to our level. But the problem is we're not connected with any levels. And that's where
yeah.
the problem is happening. We only time we see each other when we're having dinner, or
Hmm.
on a weekends to go have fun with your friends. And I think, and that's, we are losing the old essence of the energy part, how we recognize this.
Oh, totally. Ugh.
And I think that, and I'm sorry to break up. I talk about, and that's, I think that's where the healing starts, because kids are missing
Mm,
huge big gap in life, where they feel something's emptiness, and that grows up to be a pain, that grows
yeah.
up to be scarring of not able to connect with the parents, and a mother or father passed away,
Mm,
and they hold the scars because the parents didn't manage to tell them, I love you, I care
hmm.
about you. I don't know what it is, but I hope you know before what it is. So the last, and that causes a lot of scarring.
Yeah.
And that healing is not just hugging, it's not physical, it's not just emotional, it's hearing, looking, feeling, touching. All these
Mm,
sensations come about. And when I know you talked about healing, I want to talk about healing. I heal from food. What food do I eat that heals me? I
mm,
take a breath that breaths me for my breathing. I take the breath of smell that heals me by my smelling. And
mm,
your smells you can smell from your mom, from your boyfriend, from your girlfriend. Some smells healing, trigger all those chemicals. Remember, this is healing
yeah.
from smell, healing from taste. What you eat, food, what your mom, your dad, your girlfriend made, your boyfriend made you. You feel the sensation, the touch of sensation of touching your loved ones, the feeling that you get from them. And looking at those things, or the views, or that's why they say, go out of the country, travel, look at the world, you heal. Healing is with all different sensations, the breath, the breeze, the ocean. That's why if you
Yeah.
see the ocean, you and I, when we met, that's why we go to the ocean. I like to go on the soft
Yes.
water to heal myself.
Talk
Healing
to
is,
us about that, because you have a lot to say about the ocean, right? I mean, you do. So talk to us about that.
I know, I now I go every morning and swim in the ocean. I do about a mile or so in the ocean to connect with the ocean. First of all, the ocean is salt, and it neutralizes the ionization, whatever EMF that we hold, electromagnetic
Mm,
energy we have around us, through the cell phone, to the 5Gs, 4Gs, all those things that we move around ourselves. We occupy this vibrations. So in order to neutralize them, even the cell phones we hold, they give us this radiation. So in order to do
yeah.
that, when you go to salt water, it neutralizes, takes away all the magnetic energy around you. It neutralizes. That's why people go to the ocean, feel relief. But second of all, the noise of the ocean shuts your noise within yourself. So you realize we are tiny, minute. And we look at the ocean, realize, shit, we think we have everything in our head. And we look at the ocean, realize that's how tiny we are. We are a
Yeah.
speck of a sand dust. And then we look at the stars. That's why I would take my son at night in the evening and lay on the floor and look at the stars and look at them. And he would be quiet, and he'd be quiet looking at this. Look at this. They are millions and millions of miles away from us, and how
Mm,
tiny we are. As long as we recognize that where we are in this universe, we're not tiny peck for a second. We'll be in and out and gone nowhere. And then we realize, when we are nothing, we are everything.
mm,
And when we are
yeah.
everything, we are nothing. This is my saying, and I tell to people all the time, try not to think you're everything. Then that's when you're nothing. When you're nothing, that's when you connect with everything.
Right.
And being humble, and being realize that our time is short, and make it so valuable for every single soul that you interact. Let them
Mm,
be your part of your history, part of your memory for the rest of your life. Like Van Gogh, Leonardo da Vinci, they make great painters. They left
yeah.
something for us to connect with. So do
Mm,
something for this world, for the rest of the generation to come in to connect with this. It's not suffering, it's sharing love and passing on the wisdom, so they can
yeah.
carry on for where they have left onto.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And yeah, you're right. I think, and reminding ourselves, like, what will this matter in 5 years' time? What will it really matter? Like, if I don't do this thing, if I don't work on myself, if I don't launch my book or my podcast or help that person or give back to society or do these things, if I don't do all of these things, what am I doing here? What is my purpose on this planet? And if I do it and it fails, and if I make a fool out of myself, who cares? Because what will it matter in 500 years, 5 years, 500 years? It doesn't mean a thing, right? It's just what can we contribute now while we're here? But in order to do that, we have to really go inside and connect with ourselves so that we can then show up in that space of being present. Of service and present. Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason I bring this up too much, because I don't know if you know that, but I had never mentioned, but about 15 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, I almost died. I had staph infection given by the hospital.
You told me. Yeah, you told me.
And I almost lost my life and I had to fly out of the country to keep me alive. And I saw my body on the bed as my soul left it. I saw my body down there and I wanted to see the light and I didn't want to go to the light. And I said, because I have my son back. And I came back and I woke up 3 days later. And after that, I felt completely different about my life. In the last 14 years, have changed dramatically. I do all the things that I love. I started riding motorcycles. I started doing snowboarding that I always want to do. I started doing all the things from swimming to things that I was scared of doing. And when I remember being on the deathbed, I realized what's important to me at this time is only the time that I spend with my loved ones and all the things that I want to put memories for them. And if I didn't have them, it was such a sad thing. So now every single moment I want to create those memories. If I leave today, like it can happen every single second. So I just want to make sure that I give my fullest to everyone and give them opportunity to live their life to the richest. It doesn't mean you go spend your money. It doesn't need wealth. It means the wealth of inside of you, of able to have this hunger to seek the open skies, the flowers, the beauty of the flowers, or the skies, blue up skies. Look at them. Feel the energy of people around you, people passing you by. Look at them. How we are so perfect in so many ways in unperfect world, which any can take any given second. But everything is so balanced and perfectly organized. And I think I really believe that every second that I'm in this earth is just an opportunity for me to discover myself and see what's around me. What are they giving me around me?
That and there's one thing, and it's one of the things that you said, and I read this earlier from your bio at the beginning, when you said, "Oh my gosh, hold on."
The metal,
the metal, the steel.
It's only made perfectly when it can only make a perfect shape when it's been molded and molded and molded over again to make the best sword. That means in order to us become who we are, we have to be broken down for we are not. That means we have to weather the storm, weather the hardship, weather the tough terrains, and how you come out of them makes you who you are, not by competing or beating them or fighting your resistance, having ego, having pride, having resistance, having anger for somebody that you have not let go of all these things that attach you down to this earth. I have anger with this person. I hate this person. Oh, this guy cut me off. Oh my God. You hold so much resentment for so many things. Why don't you let go? Cut yourself free. Breathe like an angel. If you would be dead today, these things won't matter even for a second. But look how much time we waste our life by or repenting on something that is not of value for even for a second. In that opportunity, we lose a whole grace of blessing for the universe around us. How unfortunate is that?
And looking like, absolutely. And instead of saying, they did this and they did that and this happened to me, how about reframing that and saying, this happened for me, and thanks to that experience I've been able to grow, to shift, to heal because of those experiences. If I hadn't have been through those experiences, I wouldn't be the person I am today. So just reframing the way that you're looking at every experience that we go through, because we're always going through something. There's always a challenge or situation or a person or a circumstance which is going to challenge us every single step of the way, because life is a journey. It's never straightforward. The path to this beautiful way of being is constant and a struggle, and always having to re-navigate and shift around. So That is so magic. I really love that analogy. And I think
I want to say
what,
something before you lose the amazing word. You brought it up, and my teacher used to say that to me. I said, he did a great punch. He hit me very well. And teacher said, that's the way you put it. Instead of saying, oh, he hurt me, instead of saying, by changing our words, we change the world around us. When you change
yes,
the word, you change the world. By saying, oh, he hit me. No, he gave me a good shot. He gave me a great experience that woke me up and woke me alignment. Talking about that, I talk about my
yes.
wake up. I always talk about that. So let me talk that up. But wake up in
Talk
bliss.
about it. Yes. So
I
this
talk
is
about
to tell people what Wake Up in Bliss. What is this? So this is
well, this
something you're
is my
creating.
brand. I have a couple of
Your new
things coming
brand.
up, and this is my brand, and a couple of people wearing it, and they love it. And it's a reminder. It's like every time you wake up doesn't mean like you're waking up from your sleep. Most people are sleeping in the world of matrix. They're walking around and they're asleep.
Mm,
They're not awake. They're not present. Why?
yeah.
Because they live robotic life. Work home, work home. Their life is completely robotic. They have not managed to wake up from where they are. They think they have to work in always an orbitic work. This is the work, this is home, this is how it is. No, life is much more than work. Life is much more than being all systematic and having logics and everything you do in life. Yes, I'm not saying not logic, but look at universe. When it gives you a job or work or relationship, it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make any sense. You think you're in control? No, I found this job. Not really. And if you look at the circumstance, I found this girl. You didn't found her. You know how we come across. You have no control on anything. And we put logic. And so when I say I wake up and bliss, like the answers are all around us.
Mm,
And only when we are awake, we get to see them.
right.
Only when we're awake, we get to see around. So I said, wake up every morning and be in bliss, like be happy where you are. I'm sorry, you can't see the wake up in bliss.
There you go. Wake up in bliss.
Bliss.
Wake
So
up in
you should
bliss.
be, when you wake up in bliss means be content. And when you're content, the world looks content. And if you're angry, the whole world looks angry. So I try to say every morning and remind myself, I look at this and I say, okay, just remind yourself you're lucky you're breathing one more breath again in this amazing world that you have. Again, you're waking up again. Look how many great opportunities do you have that you wake up and redo again, that you have not done those things before. Wake up again, this time do completely the opposite and see how that works.
See
Wake
how
up
that
again,
works.
what you did in the past, change the past, turn to something different. You made mistakes. It's a great thing if you made mistakes, because now you know what not to do. By making mistakes, I always say it's the best thing you did in that, because now you're taking all the mistakes away. And I've
Right.
seen the greatest people who've been drug addicts and alcoholic and horrible life, and they turn out to be amazing saint people because they know what they have walked the journey. Not that I'm saying you should do bad things, but I'm saying
Mm.
if you do bad things, it's not a bad thing. You learn the experience not to do them. But if you keep on the same path, you ain't gonna wake up.
I love that. And to be in a state of bliss is a state of being, right? It's to be in that blissful state is that high vibrational energetic state. And when you're in that environment, you can't help but attract that back into your world. And so I think that's a beautiful reminder. I love that. Wake up in bliss. We all need that for sure. So everyone needs to go purchase one of these incredible
Yeah, you
pieces
can
of clothing, the Wake Up in
wakeupinbliss.com. I
Bliss,
think get over there.
wakeupinbliss.com.
Yeah. And
So you're working on that. You've got your podcast, which again is talk about your podcast, because it's
well,
really
my podcast is about talking about I bring athletes and different people from top fields and it's all about intelligence, emotional understanding. What you do in your fight, the way you fight is actually way you deal with your life.
yeah.
If you're always pushing, bullying things, you see some people push and bully all their life. But the real fighters who've been fighting for decades and centuries, who realize there's nothing as champion. There's nothing as somebody's good, somebody's bad. No, it's about how you deal with your attitude under tough circumstances. Like I said, a steel is only molded when it puts the pressure on it. You can only find the perfect steel when you mold it perfectly. That means the great characters only come out through tough terrain. When tough situations go through, then the real character show up. Everybody looks perfect. When something tough happens, how you react, that really tells you who you are. And talking about this podcast is all about warriors, talk about the understanding how they behave, how the attitude goes through it. And I also have a YouTube channel that I was teaching, but somebody recently channel got bought by one of the top UFC schools. One of the top media, they bought my channel, so they put my kickboxing over there. But I'm going back again. I've been really busy with stuff comes up because we're coming out of the corona now, and I already got my vaccination, both of them, for the last couple of months. So now I'm working with different artists and working with different people. So I'm busy with that, trying to catch up with things. And now I'm getting calls. Yes, it's true. I'm gonna get too late. But that's yes. And I'm very fortunate that I can put people on stage and tell them it's not about fighting. It's about you understanding the respect for each human being out there. Don't ever underestimate any human being out there. It doesn't matter what gender. Every soul is so powerful that can take away. I used to train Ronda Rousey before she even became a world champion. One day she was crying. I was working with the girl. I said, "Why are you crying?" She says, "I have no jobs and I'm working 2 jobs and my boyfriend left me." At that time, Ronda Rousey wasn't even a fighter or not even competing at the time. And I told Ronda Rousey, "Can I tell you something?" She says, "What?" She says, "You're going to look back at these days, you're going to laugh at them and smile at them. And you know why? Because you walked the journey, and watch your journey will change." And after a year later, I called her and she was ringing stock exchange bell in New York. And she was the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine. She was a fighter of the year and the best fighter in the UFC at the time. That tells you that anything can change as long as you do your part, you do your struggle, stay on to it and stay on to your dream. Hold on to your dreams. It wasn't that easy for me. I held on to my dreams dearly and I punished myself and I got punished but that was not punishment. That was testing for me to go through all these things. But I didn't take anything personally. And here I am today. I'm fortunate to talk to you and able to give my journey to people. And I hope that somebody can wake up from this state of sleeping that they are, that everything is possible whenever, what age you are. It does not matter. It's not just in the ring. The world fight is real world is much tougher than being in the ring, because the ring is a short life. But the real life never ends till its game is over. So fight all the way to the end like a warrior.
Love that. What a beautiful place to end. Fight all the way like a warrior. Just amazing. So grateful to you for taking time, because I know how crazy and hectic your schedule is. But I think this is phenomenal. And I'm for sure that there is something that everybody can take away. That's just magic. Thank you so much. And so people can find you on the YouTube. We're going to put all of your contact infos on your Instagram.
I haven't not been busy. They've been asking me to do YouTube again. So I'm going to work on that too. But my Instagram is more active. Instagram is Majid Raees, at Majid Raees. So you will have the information, I think.
Yep.
And and I'm working on some new stuff that I want to generate for kids. I'm creating a special clothing line, which is going to help kids to really help them in so many ways. And I've been traveling back and forth and having some stuff, but it's really, really good stuff that's coming out in a good way.
Amazing. Can't wait to see more, and we'll have you back again, and you can talk about that as and when it's up and running and share for sure.
I had a great talk with this. Was so nice. And thank you for putting me in your show. It was one of the best things I've
Of course. Thank you so much for being here. Amazing guest, so inspirational, and just an absolute honor. Thank you so much, Majid. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I truly hope that you enjoyed the show, and there is at least one thing that you can take away from today's episode that will help you build that sustainable healing toolkit. It would mean the absolute world to me if you would subscribe to the show, give it a 5-star review, and share this or any of the other episodes with somebody that you feel could really benefit by listening. I look forward to seeing you next time.